began to.
Bertie Ahern to go down there and see would he be able to move the loud players from that area before there's a racket. But it's coming soon.
Yeah, it is.
No, they're going to have to hold. This is like the start of the heavyweight boxing championship, you know, where they're eyeing each other, and the first man to look down, the first man to flinch loses the psychological advantage, you know.
Well, this is the OK Corral here, and Wyatt Earp is on his way out now in a second.
Or it's like the, what do you call it, the World Wrestling Federation stuff, you know, where they're pretending to to beat each other up in the dressing room.
That's right, I'll rip your head off tips.
It mightn't be pretend now.
Well, it's fun anyway, you know, it's fun, and it'll sort of stir up the hornet's nest.
I think this is, anybody who's wondering what's going on at home now will be enjoying the next 3 or 4 minutes, because it's going to be certainly very interesting.
Well, Dublin are being announced anyway by the stadium announcer, so here they do come. Brian Cullen leads them out.
Either it'll be a psychological masterstroke for Mickey Moran and John Morrison, or it'll backfire spectacularly, so we wait with interest to see how it all goes.
We're going to have obviously another 30 seconds to wait, because the first thing they have to do is get on the bench, have their photographs taken for this game, and then we're going to wait and see where they go.
Yeah, but behind all the sort of psychology of football, you know, people can dress up a lot of these things, and you should do this and should that. Like, it still comes down to, have you the ability and the mental strength to keep going when things are tough during the game? And, you know,
there they go.
We're going to see now.
Oh,
you know,
you boys, you.
they're probably going to link arms and go down
lads.
is the usual thing here.
A good, big, long fist fight now.
But they look like a Roman army on the march at the moment, so you know.
That's right. That's right. They're coming down to the hill. Look at this. It's great.
And Kieran Whelan have to be.
Kieran Whelan wants to get moving up, get going at them.
Look at them. By God, I tell you, this is going to be a good contest.
I think this.
We may hold on to our hats.
The contest may start in the next couple of minutes from the looks of things at the moment. Now, will Mayo retreat? Because that would now be the thing to do for me. You haven't made your point, just...
No, I don't think we can give it up now.
They're not doing
give
that.
it up now. Well, there you are. If they want to play it being silly buggers, that's what they're going to do.
Well, it's certainly going to liven up the Dublin support, and it means that they'll be getting even more noise behind them than usual. But again, like, you know, good players go out and they hear nothing, see nothing. Yeah. It's a field, and could play this game somewhere and there'll be nobody at it, and, you know, the top players will still be the top players, because they'll be able to put all the influences before the game, all the crowd, everything out of the system, and just get on with playing. Yeah. And that's why quality players like Alan Brogan and you know, on Conor Mortimer and Brian Cullen and all these fellas, they'll still be the good players.
Oh, and it's starting. That's John Morrison, isn't it, Joe?
Yeah,
in the middle of that there.
John Pillar's just giving him a good shoulder charge.
Yeah.
And I'm sort of afraid to criticise Mickey Moran anymore, you know. I'm worried he'll come up with the box after
the
the
game.
game.
Word with Paul Caffrey. It'd been a tough week for Paul Caffrey, of course. Colm, his nephew, died suddenly during the week, which obviously is. And John Maughan in the crowd there. John has a smile on his face. He's obviously enjoying some of this, but
the thing is, of course,
this is getting a bit silly. Brian Talty.
It's silly, but
Brian Talty with the glasses, their former Galway player, just obviously trying to separate the Dublin lads from the Mayo lads. Brian has played against Mayo many times, so.
And Brian has had his problems with Dublin.
Of course, the past. Mr. Mullins
back to 1983.
Yes, so. That's right.
And I see Kieran Duff there, who Kieran, a very quiet, unassuming player, never got into any trouble himself.
Much.
1983 as well.
Also, like, whenever the Mayo fans are on this side of the pitch and the Dublin fans are on the other side of the pitch, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense in a way. Like, but the first 5 minutes, what happens is you get all these frustrations out of your system in the first 5 minutes, and then the game just goes into its normal pattern. You know, whether or not it gives them a psychological edge is questionable, but I mean, it depends on their own mental strength, I suppose.
Well, Mickey is really wound up, isn't he?
Oh, Mickey's wound up, yeah. But I think that a manager would better off go over and sit on the line at this stage, you know. Let the players get on with their business. And when it comes down to it, you know, we're going to see, is the Mayo forward line good enough to breach this Dublin back line? Now, the Dublin full back line have had their problems when the ball has been played in fast. Nobody has done it. Mayo are unlikely to do it today, let it in fast. But I think Conor Mortimer still can do a lot of damage.
He's well improved, isn't he? Colin was a footballer.
Paddy Russell, the referee, is out in the middle of the field there with his two linesmen. Now, obviously, he, strictly speaking, Colin, doesn't have anything to do until this game starts and throw the ball in. But again, as you said, Joe, if this was a boxing big championship fight and you're the referee, I'd be going over and say, lads, separate now.
I suppose at this stage, if the Mayo boys flinch now and do go up to their own side, there'll be a huge roar and there'll be a sort of the sense of defeat that goes with that. So even though it's silly now that they've started into it, they will stick with it. Like,
well, there are two men who are entitled to be beside each other, David Heaney and Brian Cullen, who is the Dublin captain on the day. Colin Moran is the team captain, the club captain if you want to call it, but not in the starting lineup in this. So Brian has the honour of captaining the side. Handshakes are done. We have to wait and see, of course, which way they're. I presume they're not going to both play in the same direction when the match starts.
I would say that Paddy Russell would prefer now if we could get the pre-match parade started, and at least that will bring an end to the sort of hostilities that have arisen so far and let them get on with the real game.
Yeah. Oh, it's all great fun. Well, I suppose it beats having to wait for the Dublin supporters to arrive, doesn't it?
Well, that's true. It'll just give them a window of opportunity to get here from the throw-in. But anyway, it's well filled up now.
It is. Okay, let's give you the lineups at this stage as they've been selected by the two counties with all the details. Here's Gerard Canning.
Thanks very much indeed, Michael. Well, Paul Caffrey and his Dublin selectors are in the happy position of being able to name the same starting 15 as that which started the quarter-final against Westmeath. Brian Cullen is now well and truly established at centre-half back, while the midfield pairing of Kieran Whelan and Shane Ryan is highly regarded. And up front, Mayo will know all about Tomas, better known as Mossy Quinn. In their league meeting last March, he scored 2 goals in 2 minutes. Mickey Moran left a vacancy in his published team at right half forward in the event. The spot goes to Billy Joe Padden, who together with David Heaney underwent a fitness test at lunchtime. Right half Aidan Higgins will remember his last match against Dublin. He was sent off within 5 minutes of coming on, while Conor Mortimer, Mayo's scoring star, knows all about some of the Dublin backs. He played with them for DCU in this year's Sigerson Cup victory. Michael, back to you.
Gerard Canning, thank you very much indeed. Best of luck in the commentary for this one. By the way, there is an official down injured in the middle of the field. Not quite sure exactly what happened there. Obviously, during the little exchanges between the two sides earlier on, he has been treated. You can see it on the right-hand side of the field there. Somebody has, apparently he was struck by a ball in the middle of that, obviously with all the kicking around and all the confusion. Somebody got a wallop. Not sure who it is, but hopefully he is okay. So, Colin, when the match actually starts, what's going to happen?
Well, I think that Dublin certainly will come out of traps now at 100 mile an hour. I think the first 5 minutes will be very interesting, both on and off the ball. And I'd say that Paddy Russell, who's, I've criticised him in the past, he wouldn't be my choice of referee for a game like this, which is going to be fairly frenzied.
He'll have his hands full now.
Yeah, the only thing I suppose he had experience of the Dubs match above in Tyrone, and he said that he was about to abandon that game, so maybe he understands the way that they are going to work. But
he couldn't have done too much about the silliness that particular day, I suppose.
I'm going to be interested in this Dublin rotating forward line. It's not something that I would agree that much. Like a fellow like Brogan scores a brilliant point, and then he's out 60 yards being the provider for maybe the next score, and they keep rotating in this circular movement. And what it means is that sometimes their best scorers are away out the field.
Yeah.
Whereas the likes of Kerry or Armagh will keep their best scorers close to the goal line. It's not something I think is in their best interest long term. It is working, so we can't complain too much about it. But it's something I'm wondering when they go out the field, what backs are going to follow them out, because you could end up, say, with half backs playing in the full back line as well. Maybe that's the way that Dublin wanted, and it has caused enough disruption for them to score goals so far.
Yeah, a moment ago there we saw Paul Caffrey pointed to his head as the message is to focus now. That's what you have to do now after all this old shenanigan.
One thing that the Dublin team have had this year is an extremely strong sense of purpose and mission throughout. They've brought the zeal with them to every game. In truth, since the Longford game, they've blown everyone they've played out of the water. I mean, they've beaten them off the field. The game's been over after 20-25 minutes. Now, the difficulty is they just haven't the class forwards to take full advantage of the opportunities that they're creating. But unless Mayo can hold them in the first half and get into some sort of scoring rhythm themselves, way beyond anything they've been capable of so far, then the game could be a rout. Alternatively, if Mayo can score and stick with them, the game will be very interesting, because Dublin aren't Kerry or Armagh, they don't have that sort of class to emphatically finish a team off, I don't think.
Okay, thank you, lads. Okay, commentators on this second All-Ireland football semi-final of 2006 are Ger Canning and Kevin McStay.
Thank you very much indeed, Michael. Well, so far it's been a game of one half, both sides in it. Let's see what happens. I'm not quite sure how they're going to have a parade or not. This all happened before, of course, back, I remember it in 1984. I think it was Tyrone against Dublin, and it's exactly the same thing. Tyrone came out in the field first, went down, hammered the balls in towards Hill 16, now officially known as Janine Hill 16, by the way. But a little bit of common sense prevailed after that, and they, I think, moved out. Both teams now without a parade, but ready for the national anthem, which will be sung by Elaine Canning. Mayo on their own 65-metre line down near Hill 16 is where you'll find the Dubs across the 20-metre line. Part of the familiar pageantry now of pre-match days involving Dublin.
I put on my flak jacket and helmet and I'm only in the commentary position. Not really sure what it was all about, because when the ball is thrown in, that's when the green light really flashes and both teams have to get stuck into it. That's when the football begins for sure, but there is no doubt that a few degrees of temperature has been added.
It was David Heaney of Mayo who won the toss, and he had the choice of ends. He's opted to play from left to right in the first half, which means Dublin play in towards Hill 16 in the first half of this game. Paddy Russell, who's handled 2 All-Ireland finals in the past, 1990 and 1995. Man from Emily in charge. And straight away it's Dublin to get the first touchdown there from Kieran Whelan. Coming into it here is Brian Cullen. Great sense of expectation at Croke Park. Keith Higgins drops it. Alan Brogan's pouncing. Awkward angle. Great block by Higgins. Did well. Good follow-up here by David Heaney. Drag back. Free kick. Nicely forward towards Alan Dillon. Breaks here very kindly. Good movement by Patter Gardner. Inside towards the 2 blonde heads, Conor Mortimer and Kieran MacDonald. Mayo hold. It's MacDonald. Oof. Not the best of balls he's ever played. Straight at Kieran Whelan. Could be a costly mistake by MacDonald. Very near the sideline and taken out over the line. Nothing whatever that Alan Brogan could do about that. He's had a terrific season so far, Brogan. Today playing in his 27th championship match. Gardner back once again to Keith Higgins here. Mayo penned back. Cosgrove trying to challenge David Heaney, but in vain. Good composure. Conal Keeley was the one who was putting in the last challenge. Ger Brady now, way back. Bounce judged really well by David Henry. 6 years ago he was playing championship hurling against Kilkenny. Out to Colin Goggins. Little slip here, challenged by Billy Joe Patton, not wearing a strapping incidentally, for a player who was said to be in doubt before the start of the match. All of it scrappy in the opening exchanges. David Henry here. Foul committed. Michael Conroy, the player who was making contact with him.
Ger, let's give us a few matchups just for the viewers at home who can't get the full view. We have Brogan has been picked up by Higgins, Sherlock, the other Higgins, Aidan Higgins, that is. Quinn is taken by Geraghty. Griffin is on Mortimer, we expected that. So it's beginning to tighten up all around. Cahill is on MacDonald.
Interesting matchups. Let's see how it's going to develop. Donal Keaney, challenged by David Heaney. Heaney and Keaney will be a wonderful exchange this afternoon, you can be certain. Dermot Geraghty, strong, working hard, getting it out of style as Ronan McGarity. Trying to get away from Kieran Whelan. They're set to have a fascinating duel in the middle of the park. 2 very tall, very athletic players.
Black tick there for Kieran Whelan in that exchange with Ronan McGarry. A little bit harsh indeed, but he's got one already.
Mickey Moran, who was here, of course, as manager of Derry just 2 years ago, lost in the semi-final that year against Kerry.
Mayo are finding it very hard to break the defensive tackle, Ger. They've gone across their own half-back line quite a lot, finding it very hard to get out of defence.
So 3 minutes gone, we're awaiting the opening score. Billy Joe Patton, again, not the best measured pass, straight at Paul Casey this time. Strong upper body to the other wing back, Coleman Goggins. Huge one in, helped on by Fossey Quinn. And again it is David Heaney. There were rumours all morning that he was in serious doubt as to whether or not he could play in this match. He's made a very good start. Mickey Moore was telling me he's got a tight calf. Able to play, however. Aidan Higgins. Got a smashing point playing in a particular direction up towards the Canal End goal last Sunday. Back to Kieran MacDonald. Inside towards Mortimer. 11 points in the last 2 matches for him. Looking for a good start. He's got it. Opening point of the match. to 4 minutes of play, and it's the full forward from Shrew, Glenn Corrup. Conor Mortimer here, confidently on his left, pegging it over the bar.
It's a lovely score, Jar. How often would you see Kieran MacDonald actually pushing that ball across to Mort? But he swings it over. That actually levels him up as the top championship scorer for the 2006 season. Lovely score.
Stephen Cluxton with this kick out, and Dublin have been taking a lot of time over their kick-outs this year, and they win the first one here, straight to Shane Ryan, and surely Mayo will have anticipated that. Unable to get there first, however. Strong pressure play. Comes back to Billy Joe Patton. Bad marking by Dublin. Straight to Alan Dillon. Nobody near him. He can still take it another 5 metres forward. Inside here. Mortimer once again. Another point for the taking there. And inexplicably, he has put it to the right. He may smile, but that's a big, big miss.
Well, that is a big, big miss. It was 3-on-2, and that's why Dillon progressed the play when he possibly should have put it over himself. Look at Ryan again, after all we said about the kick-outs, Ger. But when you have a keeper that can kick that accurately, it's very difficult.
Second kick out then for Cluxton. His team a goal behind. This time again able to pick out a colleague. This time it's Kevin Bonner working there as a third midfielder, of course. And that's because Dublin are very good at using their bodies, shielding defenders from getting there to the targeted player from the kickouts. Here's Conor Keaney, free into Dublin.
And a little worry from Mayo is that Heaney is the one that has come away from that gingerly. We know they were looking at him in the last few hours with his hamstring, I believe it was.
And he's got it ticking as well.
But he has started very well. David Heaney's cleared a lot of ball already.
Very lively indeed. Conor Keaney then, ready to try and level the match here. Fair distance out, drops short, dangerously in there. David Clark committed himself, and Dublin still have it. Cosgrove trying to make some ground here, back towards Alan Brogan. Brogan's nipping in, and Keith Higgins just gets an arm in. Vital little touch there by the left corner back, and that's a 45-metre free.
This is a great spot by David Clark. He sees the ball is going into the hole, and he goes out to fill it with his hand. He skids off him. That was so dangerous. There he is, just getting a touch on it. It was a vital one. If that ball was allowed bounce, could have gone anywhere.
Terribly difficult one for the goalkeeper that time. Goalkeeper, of course, has replaced John Healy. Healy is the substitute for Mayo, should they need a replacement goalkeeper.
Should also be said that Keith Higgins wasn't a bit happy about the decision of the umpire. He was some bit away when he signalled it. He felt it was wide, but the 45 is awarded.
And it's Tomas Quinn, Mossy they call him, of course, the St. Vincent's player, ready to strike. Is it inside? It's hit the post. Comes down once again, and David Heaney, not for the first time, taking it out towards Pat Hart, surrounded by a couple of Dublin players. And the referee says he held onto the ball too long. He'll argue that there was nothing he could have done about it, but Paddy Russell gives the decision Dublin's way. And for the third time they've a chance of drawing level now. They've had a free from Conor Keaney, they've had a 45 from Mossy Quinn, and this kick once again entrusted to the number 15.
And that free really describes the problems Mayo are having. They're having the strength to break the tackle. They're surrounded, and it was a good call by the referee. He did overplay it.
Makes a good connection this time, but he's misdirected it. Didn't take much of a run up. And that's a wider piece for these teams.
Well. Maybe the opening engagement in Mayo they'll have upset them a wee bit. That's one you'd expect Quinn to nail.
3 misses so far by Dublin from scoring opportunities. Mayo trying to settle with James Nallen. Challenged there by Kevin Bonner. Slips away here as far as Ronan McGarity, all 6'5" of him. This is Barry Cahill, the St. Bridget's player. Held on to very strongly there by Paul Casey, ruggedly taking it forward here is Brian Cullen, surging ahead. Huge one in, goalkeeper required. Clark, outside to Dermot Geraghty. About to be challenged there. Stolen, his pocket was picked beautifully by Mossy Quinn. Mossy Quinn holding it, and he gets the decision. Dublin's free.
Well, that certainly is a handy one. I think he hands it on the ground here, in fact. Just there.
Yep.
That's a free out. He got away with that, and then Geraghty was legitimately tackling him, in my opinion. And that also should have been a free out, but that's the bounces and breaks you get in these big matches.
So once again, the free here for Mossy Quinn to take. That's an idea of the angle of difficulty that confronts him. He's got 3 goals and 12 points so far in 4 championship games for Dublin this season. All started against Longford, of course. On the 20-metre line. Again, it's drifting outside and it's gone wide. And a horrible start for Dublin. 9.5 minutes gone. They haven't scored so far. They've had a lot of dominance, but Paul Caffrey waiting for the first point to come. This, the latest miss, drifting right across the face of goal and well wide of the target.
And off the ball, Jared, just at the other end. Kieran McDonald is now playing at full forward, and that's a championship first. Well deep for the Mayo lads.
Well, they've got to get the ball out of midfield. First of all, James Nallen. Held onto there by Ronan McGarity. Referee again blows the whistle. Free this time. Taken very quickly by McGarity. Nallen, who's making a burst forward, confronted by a couple of Dublin backs. Comes to Michael Conroy, known as Mickey. Hand in there of David Henry, trying to dispossess it. Does well. Pushed. Henry holds on. Very secure. Paul Casey now. Dubs with huge support, as always, at Croke Park on major match day. That's Kevin Bonner out near the sideline, over the sideline. Line ball to Mayo.
Yeah, the pass set him up, really. It was a poor pass. Put him under too much pressure close to the line. The big frame of McGarity does the rest. Line ball to Mayo.
Mayo, remember, playing 3 games in 3 weeks here at Croke Park. That's MacDonald, and that's magnificent! Well, you talk about Maurice Fitzgerald coming and doing it back in 1997 for Kerry against Mayo. Okay, it was on that far side, but look at the curl on this. That was brilliant, and it's 2 points to no score.
Yes, and that angle, a fantastic angle, really describes that picture beautifully. He knows he can do it, and he does.
Little or no breeze, by the way, in Croke Park this afternoon. Billy Joe Padden, pursued by Coman Goggins. Up once again there towards Kieran MacDonald, runs on there towards Alan Dillon. A right-footed kicker normally, held off by Paul Casey. And he lets fly, with accuracy, and it's goal done terribly well from Mickey Moran's team. And Alan Dillon has kicked another and sent the fans into rapture. Only 11, nearly 12 minutes gone. Alan Dillon's first strike at the target, and it's Mayo 3, Dublin 0.
Well, it's some start for Mayo, Ger. I mean, we have in the build-up been talking over a cup of coffee saying what happens the day that Mayo don't start shooting wides. Well, they've had some start now here today, and Dublin, the one they just wouldn't have wanted.
Well, there's a long way to go.
Of course.
McGarity. Dillon once again. Clever operator. Works really hard. Ger Brady, they're expecting a big performance from him in this game. They need it to take on Cullen and force him onto the back foot. In came Mossy Quinn there. The challenge, or was it Mossy Quinn? It was Jason Sherlock. Challenge not liked by the referee.
That's certainly not Jason's style. Got caught with an awkward tackle, a lazy tackle. But a yellow card.
Yep. First yellow card of the match then for Jason Sherlock, 30 years of age. The darling of the hill so many times over the years. This is what happened here. The number 13 coming in and just making unfair contact with Ger Brady.
And that's what happens when you're only a bit over 5 foot. These big tall fellas, you only get around their neck when you go tackling. But nothing serious in it, Ger, at all, really.
Kieran MacDonald has hit one from the sideline. Now this free from just outside the 45-metre line. Struck well, but not accurately. And that is Mayo's second wide of the game. Still, they've made a very, very good start. You just intimated there, Kevin, that maybe the fact that Mayo came out first, went down to Hill 16, might have unnerved Dublin just a little bit.
Of course, it's impossible to know. We're kind of amateur psychologists in many ways, but I mean, they haven't started, that's the evidence.
Well, they have a routine, a ritual, and Mayo are trying to break up that ritual. James Nallen holding on here with Alan Dillon. Good running by Kieran MacDonald once again. Trying to go by Barry Cahill, taking him on, forcing the free kick. Cahill in a little difficulty.
This is a key for Mayo, actually. We've been talking about in the build-up, taking on their men. You take on any defence, no matter how vaunted it is, you're going to draw fouls, and that's another one.
Well, Mickey Moran will be very happy with the start. Barry Cahill there ticked for his troubles. His side ahead by 3 points. Chance now of making it 4. Troubled times for Stephen Croxton, the rest of the Dublin defence. It was said in the build-up to this game that Dublin hadn't had a very serious challenge so far. They beat all the teams they had to beat. Now it's Mayo. Different style, maybe a different level. Conor Mortimer. Is it drifting in? Cluxton comes, fists it away, wasn't taking chances, and the first to react was Shane Ryan. Supported here by David Henry, one of the Raheny players in the Dublin team. Another, of course, Kieran Whelan. Worked out here towards Barry Cahill, the player who's in difficulty a few moments ago, and he's difficulty again here, but Conor Mortimer in. Intended there for MacDonald, he's got it. There's another support player, and that's fisted over the bar. Alan Dillon with a second, might have got a goal, hence the look of disappointment on his face, but sheer opportunism. Slack play by Dublin. That was Barry Cahill giving the ball away to Conor Mortimer onto Kieran MacDonald. A little flick ahead here for Alan Dillon. It might have ended up at the back of the net.
Yeah, it's lovely link play. Everybody took the correct option, Dillon included. He might have slipped it a bit lower, but that's as good as you're going to get. Lovely movement. Mortimer did so well, so did MacDonald, and you expect that sort of clever touch from Dillon.
Well, Dublin want to point quickly. Ronan McGarity wins this ball in midfield, surrounded by Dublin players. He overholds. Free kick is quickly taken there by Conal Keaney. Down towards Ray Cosgrove. Can he strike? Well, he strikes, but it's going towards the corner flank. Still in, held there by Kevin Bonner. Back towards Mossy Quinn. Several options open to him. Alan Brogan. They just need a point, you feel, just to settle down. Instead, it's wide number 3. An awful beginning to the game for the favourites, and the fans are angry.
And they're quiet as well, which is never a good sign for Dublin.
The man centre of the screen there is unhappy with something that's going on down there. He's not too happy. Paul Caffrey, you can be certain either. David Clark. If there is a little bit of breeze around, it's beginning to just rise ever so slightly in Mayo's favour. Alan Brogan. Played inside here. Difficulty. Keaney takes it. Keaney strikes. And Keaney finally raises the Dublin cheers. It's taken 17 minutes. Conal Keaney. Excellent approach play. Really good strike. Second highest scorer for Dublin this season. This is point number 20 in the 5th game, and it's 4 points to 1. Look at this for a catch in the centre of the field before all of that.
There's a very high challenge.
We were watching in reprise one of the earlier catches, and this is what happens immediately afterwards, and it's Kieran Whelan who's in difficulty with referee Paddy Russell. Seems to be Ronan McGarity who's down on the ground. They're having quite a duel. This is it.
Oh, that's shocking.
Dear. That's Whelan who's caught him badly.
That is red card stuff. He knew exactly what he's doing there, Jar.
Well, I think he's escaped with a yellow because he's still out on the park.
Well, Kieran Whelan, you know, he's a great footballer. We've been looking at him for years, but he has this rogue chip, and he's got away with it in the past, but that is not a pretty challenge at all. Knows exactly what he's doing. He's coming on the blind side.
Well, I'll make it 2 yellow cards now for Dublin players. Jason Sherlock earlier on, and now Kieran Whelan. Ronan McGarity still down there. You'll remember his couple of weeks here in August in Croke Park. Injured and out for 5 minutes, you may remember, in the opening match against Laois, when Mickey Moran found it very difficult to have the level of communication necessary across on the far side of the field. He was making the point that really there should be runners available to managers to get the information quickly. Can he continue, can he not?
It's what that belt knocks out of you, of course. Oh, he's up on his feet, sure enough, but it's what it knocks out of you, Ger, going forward. Be interesting to see now his time on the ball in the next 5-10 minutes.
And his reaction. Mayo attack. It's down towards Conroy. Runs loose, however. Inside towards Conor Mortimer. Holds on to it there. Paul Griffin, such a good marker, is picking him up this afternoon. Back once again to Mortimer. 1 point so far. Ger Brady steadying himself. Oh, that's a beauty! That's a sensational kick by Ger Brady. At this level, you expect all players of his class to be able to do it with such regularity, but that was a mighty effort there with the outside of the right boot. Here he is, struck right across it, followed through, and it's 5 points to 1.
It's a great one. Again, on the outside, he's very good at that. I've seen him do a lot of that for his club and for the county. It's probably his best kicking style, in fact. Great point.
Dublin the hot favourites. Kevin Bonner. Shane Ryan now. Trying to provide the fodder inside. Broken down over there by Conor Keaney. Looking for a support player. It's Coleman Goggins. On towards Ray Cosgrove. Needing a second, and that's inside the post, and it's over the bar. First for Ray Cosgrove. 5 points to 2. Only a goal between them.
Good one for Cosgrove to get 2. Very good for his confidence. Keaney did very well with the left-handed hand pass. Swings it over very nicely.
And Goggins very much involved as well. The number 7 playing it on for the man from Kilmacud Crokes. 20 minutes are gone. It's an intriguing game. Place in the All-Ireland final in 3 weeks' time against Kerry at stake. Paul Casey. Jason Sherlock now. Huge one in. Taken down and dropped there by Aidan Higgins. Followed up quickly by Conor Keaney. Still there for chasing, not any longer.
Well, I'll tell you, David Clark has got away with a poorly judged tackle on Thomas Quinn as that ball was dropping. We might see it from this angle. Keaney snaps on this. He has other options. That's not very good, but just watch what here. Clark comes out. Ooh, he gets away with a bit there, I think.
Little bit of a push. Could have been free from 13 metres. It's won again by Ray Cosgrove. To steady himself. Should be confident after the last one went over. And that's another miss, and that's 3 shots at the target now by Ray Cosgrove. Only one of them has been rewarded.
Yeah, that's a poor one. I'd have expected him to get that. His confidence was up. And just something we spoke about in the last game against Westmeath when they were really cracking on and they'd open space. The kicking side isn't as nice and natural as you'd like it to be. He really should have made that one.
Huge test of both teams. David Clark, one of 4 Ballina players starting the game. Caught by Pat Hart, another Ballina player. Played wide outside towards Alan Dillon, who's got 2 points so far. Paul Casey has been warned. Dillon holds it to himself. Lets it in really well to Conor Mortimer. Quick turn. Cluxton this time has enough time with the backs holding off the forwards to gather it in. Coleman Goggins. Got to be closed down by Mortimer again. Whelan. Great ball. Down to Sherlock. Jason Sherlock lobbing it in there towards Mossy Quinn. Timing his run well. They're getting there ahead of Dermot Geraghty. Looking for a support player. That's Alan Brogan. Brogan darting. This is dangerous. Good stop. And it's finished by Keaney. They're level. 23 minutes are gone. Brogan did all the good work approaching it here, picking it up inside the 13-metre line, then going outside. It was well stopped by David Clark, but on hand was Conor Keaney to wrap it into the back of the net. His second goal ever in championship football, and there are 23 minutes on the clock gone. Teams level, 1-2 to 5 points.
Well, Brogan, as you said, Jared, did do all the hard work and all the good work. Great defending in the first instance by Guernsey, but Higgins was slipped by Brogan, and there was Keaney sniffing around looking for the little pieces, and he stuck it into the net.
One back in the centre of the field by Pat Hart. On the rampage once again, checking. But Ryan does well, got lucky maybe, put his hand in, won the ball, takes it away here. Again moving forward here, striding over the 45-metre line. still going ahead. Shane Ryan loses his way, looking for support. The support player is Ray Cosgrove. Puts over the bar, and Dublin lead in the match. First time of the game. Within a minute of scoring their goal, Cosgrove tags on another point, his second of the day.
Well, Ger, if you want to talk about their fitness levels, 12 months ago Shane Ryan could not do that. He's after taking it 60, 70 metres all on his own, all the groundwork, and a lovely little dish off to Cosgrove, and that's a flick over the bar. Lovely, lovely score for Dublin.
And changes, I think, are being contemplated, because there's a temporary substitution for Dublin as we watch one of the Mayo players also receive some attention. Dermot Geraghty requiring assistance there from Dr. Fergal Ruan.
Well, Lally is injured. We not saw him jogging in. Darren McGee is also in. I didn't quite catch who came off though.
Well, now is it a temporary change, I wonder, or is it a permanent alteration? Manager's busy. One back again here by Mayo. Kieran MacDonald. Outside towards Alan Dillon. Holds it up once again. Looks for Kieran MacDonald. Again trying to place this pass with accuracy. He does so. Aidan Higgins darting in. Sherlock's after him. Higgins, three players around him. Mickey Conroy now slipped inside once again to Aidan Higgins. Aidan Higgins fisting it, and that's over the bar. Teams level one more time. Aidan Higgins first of the day, and it's 1-3 to 6 points, level for the second time. This was Michael Conroy here, setting it up for the wing half, coming forward almost like a wing forward. Good point by the number 5 from Charlestown.
Well, Gerard Kieran Whelan, we can say, is now off. He's been replaced, as has Kevin Bonner, the number 14. So in now is Darren McGee and Declan Lally. They're the change. Not 100% sure if they're permanent or not. Looks like they are.
Most unlikely to have two players down requiring attention at the same time. So we have to assume that.
Now, Kieran Whelan, remember, was on a yellow and a black. Is it tactical? Not quite sure, but I think I saw the referee make the T sign, which is usually temporary blood, but we shall see.
Well, it would be interesting to find out exactly whether or not Kieran Whelan is off fully and completely, and whether or not it is because of the yellow and the black that you mentioned. That's a big decision by Paul Caffrey. This is the player he's brought into the centre, Darren McGee. Offloading it to Alan Brogan. MacDonald's chasing after him, getting very involved. Still level, remember. Just under 10 minutes to go to half-time. Cosgrove letting it fly. Goalkeeper does well, David Clark. Challenged by Jason Sherlock. Higgins back defending this time. David Heaney now. Hoping to lead Mayo once again into an All-Ireland final. Pat Hart. Huge one down, pressure on Griffin. They've got the ball away, but with some difficulty. Paul Casey was coming across as well there. Darren McGee, and hots up. McGee has it. Dublin trying to get in front again, playing down towards their beloved Hill 16. Mossy Quinn, lovely ball into Keeney. Chance of a second goal. He's happier with a point instead. Perhaps the most prudent move on his part.
Brilliant pass by Quinn Dodger. What's a fantastic pass. Watch this. Threads it right through, takes the defender out of it. That's a goal chance, by the way. But he took the point.
I think he saw the goalkeeper and said, hang on, let's get something out of this attack, because it puts Dublin back into a 1-point lead once again.
Well, Clark is a big tiger, there's no doubt about that. All 6 foot plus, and you won't see too many gaps when you're running towards him.
Why 4 to 6 points?
Might well have been the best option. I think you're correct in saying that. Good game though, Ger. It's lively.
Certainly is. 1-2 he's scored so far. Coach is pacing up and down the match, trying to make the switches and the changes. Mickey Moore, of course, supported by John Morrison and Kieran Gallagher as two selectors. David Clark's kick out. Mayo trying to win their own kick here. Darren McGee trying to reach it. It's McGarity instead. Referee gives Mayo a free kick.
And Gerard, that's the first ball McGarry's got his hands on since the incident with Kieran Whelan. That was the point I was making.
Here's Michael Conroy. Set up the point for Aidan Higgins a little while back, but it's going to be a Dublin ball. He's bemused by the decision, Michael Conroy. Paul Griffin ready to kick it right on the corner. David Henry, the other quarterback. Trying to get away from Conor Mortimer, not easy. Now Brian Cullen, looking to be an even bigger influence in this match from centre half back. Huge one down. Dropped, but one back again. Runs on beautifully here for Paul Casey. Fed inside to Sherlock. Ever the danger. Sherlock off the crossbar. Stays out somehow. And Jason Sherlock is most unlucky. Deserves something that time. Mayo all over the place at the back. James Nallum. Out it comes to Ger Brady. 5 minutes to go to half-time, plus perhaps a minute or two of stoppages. Brady strongly holding on to that one. Into the two-man inside forward line. Fisted down by Mortimer. On again towards Dillon. Support play here, Mortimer. He's happy with a point, but he might have got a goal. He'll be told that by many, many Mayo fans, you can be sure.
Oh, he had to give this back, Jerry. He just had to give it back. Dillon has done all the work. He's got around the goalie. Right-hand pass back to him. And he's pushing it into the net, but he's got the point.
This is Sherlock here again at the other end. This is the one that hit the crossbar. That's how close he came to getting his first goal of the game. Mayo have made a change as well, I can tell you. Barry Moran has come on in place of Ronan McGarity. So clearly that injury that he sustained there when he was fouled by Kieran Whelan has come against him and forced him out of the match.
Well, that's not nice to see. McGarity surely has felt that Croke Park was something like the ER room. There's no doubt about that. He's got some belts in the last few weeks here in Croke Park, and that's sad to see.
Brian Cullen. Here's Shane Ryan. This is one of Dublin's other substitutes, Declan Lally, leading it here for Ray Cosgrove. Conal Keaney in there, trying to get away from a couple of Mayo players who were pulling and dragging him. Referee says free kick to Dublin.
A big thing, Ger, I think, for the second half is going to be the levels of fitness. This is going to be a big issue with 10 minutes to go, because these teams are really going at it hammer and tongs.
Dublin have had a break over the last 3 weeks. Mayo have been busy. Here's Alan Brogan. Brogan getting in here. He's left Keith Higgins behind, and somehow it was Aidan Higgins who came across, just got his body in the way. Nothing was going to stop him, and Alan Brogan out of luck again. And that's another possible goal chance for Dublin that's gone a-begging. This was it here. Watch Higgins come across, hit him in the head.
Yeah, I didn't know a lot about it, but Keith Higgins is really taking in water now on Alan Brogan. Aidan Higgins did very well there. Just threw himself at it, and that's the bit of luck you need sometimes. 45 to Dublin.
Still level. Even the mentors, Dave Billings, they're taking on board water. One of those afternoons, a compelling contest. So much to recommend it. Aidan Higgins from Charlestown requiring the attention, and just a little break there. The 17th championship match. This is this afternoon. So this 45-metre kick to be taken by Mossy Quinn. No luck so far out of 3 shots on the target. Well, can he put it over just a couple of minutes before half-time? It's dropping kindly, and it lands over the crossbar. Mossy Quinn lands that beautiful 45-metre kick. Dublin in front again, 1-5 to 7 points.
He may have missed a few, Ger, but I must say his striking on the ball is really excellent. That's a lovely strike. It's very comfortable, it's very relaxed. He has the range, and that time the accuracy.
This is Ger Brady. Plenty of movement ahead of him. Powder Gardner, chance to put this over the bar. Left it there for Conroy. Will it drop in? They look at it and it's gone wide. That was a very fine attack, which really should have been put over the bar, probably by Pater Gardner.
Well, that's the key point. It should and absolutely had to be put over by Pater Gardner. He dumped the responsibility on Conroy from a particularly difficult angle when it happened. But Conroy should have just swung that over, fisted it over. A lot of different options. He took the wrong one.
Inside the final minute of the opening 35, we're waiting to see just how many minutes of stoppage time. It could be 2 or 3 minutes. Lally once again here. Lobbed in once again invitingly towards Conal Keaney, and David Heaney, the Mayo captain, takes it out. Out once again to the substitute Barry Moran from Castlebar. Here's Kieran MacDonald. Once again freed up is Aidan Higgins. Occasionally there are alarming gaps coming right through the heart of the Dublin defence. Kieran MacDonald, that's poor shooting on his part. He can do the spectacular from the sideline and then give away that one there rather easily. 4 wides for Mayo, 5 for Dublin.
And it's the 2 hot shots for Mayo that are accumulating those wides, Mortimer and MacDonald.
So we're into the 2 minutes of lost time. Pat Hart jumping but beaten by Shane Ryan. Wonderful catch. Great strength, as you mentioned earlier, Kevin. This is Jason Sherlock. Unlucky with the one that came off the crossbar. Angling this one towards Alan Brogan. Out of luck earlier on. Held there by Keith Higgins. And the referee deciding it's a free rather than an advantage to Dublin.
And it's the same pairing again. I know I've touched on it, Ger, but really there has to be a change off him now. He's hurting Keith Higgins too much. Alan Brogan has too much football in him today, and there needs to be a swap.
He's every inch a footballer, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a lovely footballer. Yeah, great footballer.
Conal Keaney, a goal and 2 points so far out of Dublin's 1 goal and 5. I was going to say that should have been routine, but maybe the angle was a little too difficult for him. It's another wide, 6 wides for Dublin.
It's a bad one. Shouldn't be missing those. He's a kid dog free taker. It's on his comfortable side, and that's just a little swing from left to right, but he's missed it.
Here's a change for Mayo, deep into stoppage time, end of the first half. Kevin O'Neill is coming on for Michael Conroy. Conroy a little unfortunate, but he was put under pressure by Pater Gardner's refusal to kick the ball over the bar a little while ago. It looked bad on the part of the number 13. He's off anyway. This is Gardner. Back to Heaney. Nicely forward for the ever-mobile Alan Dillon. Inside towards Kevin O'Neill. Did he take it off the ground? He's allowed to continue. Oh. Selling dummies, cracking a good one and putting it over. Within seconds of coming on, Kevin O'Neill in his 17th championship appearance for Mayo, the former All-Star, ties it up again at 1-5 to 8 points. That is a wonderful shot.
Well, he's a specialist at this 2mm dummy that he does to himself. He's been doing it for years, getting away with it for years. It made the space, but he had the poise, he had the accuracy to put it over. It's a great leveler now as we come up to half-time. Perfectly balanced.
This time last year it was perfectly balanced as well between Tyrone and Armagh. Perfectly balanced today between Dublin and Mayo. 2 Dubs go for the 1 ball. And David Henry manages to touch it, but only as far as Conor Mortimer, winding himself up for the kick with confidence. It's over! Mayo lead! Closing stages of the first half. Conor Mortimer hits over a 3rd point of the first half. Dublin in a dither at the back. Very decisive work by Mortimer, and Mayo lead after 3 minutes of stoppage time by 9 points to 1-5.
Did I say perfectly balanced, sure? That's the championship lead for Mortimer, actually, from score and from play.
Some first half. Dublin took so long to get their first score. Mayo made a really crisp start, got the first 4 points of the half, and then Dublin gradually got back into it in a real meaningful and scoring sense. And a goal by Conal Keaney after 23 minutes was vital. This was Keaney He's got a big part to play. That's Mossy Quinn we saw just going off, but Keeney and Quinn's vital roles to play. Half-time, it is Mayo who are shading it at the break. It's Mayo 9 points, Dublin 1-5. We've lots of analysis coming up, and all of that after the break.
That with me. Looks like Kieran Whelan might be back, by the way, in the second half. He went off injured in the first half there. This is a cracking match so far.
It's a cracking match, and Kieran Whelan is lucky to be coming back at all on that tackle on Ronan McGarity, which has put him out of the game.
McGarity apparently has a trapped nerve in his neck, or he's something like that.
From the tackle?
Very bad tackle, but it's a wonderful game of football. And you know, I'm coming to Croke Park for 30 years. I don't think I ever saw Mayo playing so well. They have been just fantastic. They're the better team. They're fully deserving of their lead. They've gone out and really taken the game to Dublin. And what we have now is a massive game full of good endeavour, hard hitting, great scores, bad misses, you know, goal chances all around, but some wonderful individual performances, like Conor Mortimer for Mayo has been brilliant to
I wonder before the match whether all the old shenanigans and going up the hill would actually deflect Mayo from the business. No question of that, it hasn't.
None whatsoever, and they've been the better team, and they've gained the upper hand psychologically as well. They're much more relaxed, they're playing with much greater freedom than the Dubs. They've only kicked 4 wides. They're really in the scoring groove, and they look like a very high-class
They got off to a cracking start. I mean, Mortimer has got 2 excellent points, one at the start of the game. Kieran MacDonald, the point from the sideline kick, it was great stuff.
Well, their first big achievement in the game was to slow up the Dubs in the first 10 or 15 minutes. They did that very well. Ronan McGarity was outstanding in the middle of the pitch. You know, Mayo didn't give the ball away. They played with aggression and tenacity. And nice confidence, you know, nice easy confidence through the team. They're not seizing up now when they get scoring chances. They're just popping them over the bar. And as I say, they just look a very, very good Gaelic football team. You know,
Mortimer is a different player this year. I think his time in DCU has served him well.
Yes.
He was brilliant. He's out there. He's given Griffin, who has put everybody, as Paul Griffin has marked sort of everybody, including Desi Dola. He can't handle Mortimer. Nobody can this year.
Yeah.
You know, and we've been hard on him in the past, but he's brilliant. MacDonald too, but the big thing with Mayo is they've played MacDonald close to goal, and they have the option of now kicking it in long, which they weren't doing at the beginning of the year, and it's working. It's working. It's putting awful pressure on the Dublin full back line, who are really struggling, apart from David Henry, who has been very good. But at the other side, Keith Higgins is getting a right roasting from Alan Brogan, and they want to do something like that because Brogan set up the goal and he's getting inside his man every time.
Got a clout in the head as well of the ball, who probably didn't help Keith Higgins also.
But when Brogan runs at you like that, he's very difficult. He's very difficult to deal with because he's direct and he goes straight and he's strong. And you know, if someone's going to make the difference for the Dubs today, it looks as though it'll have to be Brogan.
Having said all of that, I mean, I know halfway through the first half you wouldn't be saying Dublin kind of needed a goal. They kind of needed it to settle them down because they were doing nothing for the first 10 minutes.
Well, a goal is the oxygen of life to Dublin, particularly if they can get a goal at the hill end. And here we get Tomas with a lot of fellas slipping and, you know, half slip there. But again, look at Brogan, quick feet, and when he gets the ball, no easy point, he's going for the kill, and of course Keeney is in the right place just to tap it in. Maybe the goalie a little bit unfortunate, gets a bit trapped under his legs.
To an extent at that stage it got Dublin out of jail because, you know, Mayo really had closed them down pretty well, were very much in control of the game, and it really took that goal to bring Dublin back into it. The most important thing, of course, was that Mayo responded immediately.
Exactly.
So Dublin got the goal. They got a point to go a point up, Dublin. Mayo were loaded back in slowly but surely, and Mayo were playing with ironclad confidence at the moment. So the first part of the job is done for Mayo. The hardest part is done in a way. I mean, they've shown they can play and they've shown they can score, but they must continue to play the way they're doing, because if they do, they can win the game.
Oh, they can. All right, we're headed for another break. Stay with us for more. That's right after that. Was it Cork, Kerry or Tyrone? Now to enter, just call the numbers on your screen or text IGO, AYGO, followed by your answer, name and county to 57111. Further details also available on Airtel page 195. The lines will remain open until 5 o'clock on the 17th of September, and the winner of the competition will be announced at the end of our coverage of the 2006 Bank of Ireland Senior Football Championship. That will be the night of the final on September the 17th. Almost 82,000 people.
Fortunate to stay on the field for it. You know, Jo was given a yellow card. It was a high tackle, but it wasn't too dangerous. But the other one was, you know, in the red category.
The red zone,
and
yes. Yeah.
But you know, I still see with the likes of Mortimer shooting into Hill 16, he couldn't care less. He'd probably prefer even to be down there. He's that type of player. He'd love to stick one over the bar and throw his hand up at the hill. That's the type of player.
Once underdogs get on a roll, you know what it's like. There's that anarchic sense about the team. Everyone goes at their work with freedom. And that's what Mayo were doing there at the moment. The ease with which they are slicing through the Dublin defence. I mean, Mortimer had an empty net, for example. If you put that in the net, they'd be coming at half-time, 4 points up.
Same as also true the other way around, though. Like, Dublin have had probably 4 good goal chances. They've only got 1. But like, you know,
that sums up their season, Colin. Sooner or later, you're going to have to put them away in a big game.
I suppose Dublin have been in a bit of a whirl in that first half, and they're still only a point adrift.
Yeah, and I suppose
very glad to be.
They're coming out and they're saying, you know, we played badly. At least 4 of their forwards are struggling. But, you know, the longer this goes on, Mayo begin to really believe, as distinct from what they thought at the start, maybe we have a chance here. Now they're saying to themselves, we've gone out and we've played them off the park for 35 minutes. We are good enough. Let's go out and finish the job. Dublin, on the other hand, are saying, you know, maybe we're not as good as we think. You know,
absolutely.
The sort of question marks are beginning to build, the confidence begin to flow. You even saw shots of the hill there and the supporters there, and I wouldn't say it was nice things they were saying about their own forwards missing some easy chances. You know, Keane kicking an easy wide from a free. So the pressure is beginning to bear heavily on Dublin. So this is a real question of the manliness of the Dublin team, whether they're going to be able to come out now, take all of this in their stride, all the pressure that's coming on them, and finish the job.
Isn't it nice to see a player like Kevin O'Neill who's been around for quite a while coming on that second half there and scoring the point that he got?
Yeah, beautiful dainty score at a time whenever Henry had been totally dominating Conroy, and of course O'Neill comes on, dummies him twice, pops it over the bar. Mayo have lots of skillful players like that. I mean, the thing that Dublin have done so far in every game is they've totally dominated the middle of the field, so their defence hasn't been tested. Mayo have broken them open around the middle of the field now, and the defence is laying there.
Brian Cullen is not the dominant influence either, because Gerard Brady has taken them on and he's stood toe to toe and done very well with him.
Just a point in it then in Mayo's favour at half-time. Let's rejoin our commentary team of Ger Canning and Kevin McStay.
Well, Michael, as you can see, Kieran Whelan is back out in the centre of the field, and he is lining up alongside Darren McGee. And I've noticed that Shane Ryan has gone to left half back, and there are changes and switches. Barry Cahill has gone off, it would appear.
Kieran Bonner definitely back on, Ger, and this now is the temporary situation again.
Okay.
We just don't know, are they two full subs as we understand them, or 2 temporaries?
Well, the game restarts. Dublin needing to make up the deficit, just a point behind. Straight away it's David Heaney here out ahead of Conal Keaney. Tyler Gardner. Seems like Paul Casey has gone back into the full back line, by the way, and he's picking up Kevin O'Neill at this stage. Dublin definitely have taken off Barry Cahill. Coleman Goggins running onto it here. Jason Sherlock. Players are calling for it. One of them is Darren McGee just to his right. Opting to let it in long. Contesting it there was Keaney. Breaks down neatly, and that ball's over the bar, and that's the equaliser. Level for the 5th time.
Looked like Brogan to me, Ger, just when he took the breaking ball. You can see it here. Yeah, that's him. It's a good one. It's back now. We're back to this argument on Higgins again. Mayo has left the match up the same, and they're being punished for it.
First of the day for Alan Brogan then. Here's David Henry. Big one down towards Keaney once again. Taking a couple of Mayo players with him. Henry. Kieran Whelan, fortunate as you will have gathered to be still on the field for that challenge on Ronan McGarity. And off Kevin Bonner, so it seemed. Take it in quickly here to Mossy Quinn. Back towards Bonner. There's a player in support. A couple of players there. Bonner, they're queuing for it, and it's another one. Jason Sherlock, the one who finishes it to the back of the net. 37 minutes are gone here, but there were a number of players who could have got that one. In the end, it's 30-year-old Jason Sherlock, his 9th goal in championship football, perfectly poised. There they were, all of them coming forward. Kevin Bonner, Cosgrove there as well, a possible option. It went to Sherlock. And that's a goal and a point for Dublin. Start of the second half.
Fantastic hands, Gerald. Brilliant goal by Sherlock.
So 2-6 for Dublin, 9 points for Mayo. Quite a transformation. It's Brogan again. Fisting it this time and over. Second for Alan Brogan. What a turnabout. 5 points they've scored start of the second half, having been a point behind. They're 4 in front.
Well, again, you can see how the ball is played over Keith Higgins' head. He loses the flight of it. And Brogan finished it off with the open hand, an old one, of course, but the referee isn't going to pull that at this stage. Dublin are now are on a march. This is where they're really, really dangerous.
This is a bit more like it than from the Leinster champions. Shane Ryan taking on Todd Hart. Back at left half back at this stage, it would appear. Darren McGee letting fly. Huge one in. Cosgrove touching it. Keeney trying to get to it. Also there is Mossy Quinn. Still in play. Keeper committed. Came off Cosgrove. Comes back out here to the danger man, Alan Brogan. And Brogan picks it over the bar. Third point for Brogan. What a start to the second half by the man from St. Oliver Plunkett's. Well, the defence was all over the place. Clark couldn't deal with it satisfactorily. And in the end, Alan Brogan did the simple thing and did it well. 2-8 to 9 points. What a transformation. Dublin by 5. That's a turnaround of 6 points in the space of 4 minutes play. Huge one up again to Brogan. Now they're playing like the Leinster champions we know them to be. He took too much out of that one, the referee has decided.
That is a big call on Alan Brogan. He was cutting inside and about to pull the trigger with the kit-hook, and the ref gave an over carry. And he has taken a few steps indeed. David Brady now getting warmed up.
And he's got to come on in place of Billy Joe Padden. Well, there's David Brady. So what will David Brady be able to do alongside his brother Ger? They need to win some primary ball. Kieran Whelan has that. They were converging upon him. Mayo highly annoyed. We watch it in reprise again as Dublin get on with it, I can tell you. Out it comes to Brady. This is to his brother Ger. Interesting to see them playing in a championship afternoon here, the semi-final of the championship. Kieran MacDonald. Experienced heads, all three, and that's not the best of passes. Mopped up by Kevin Bonner. Kicked ahead by Jason Sherlock. Energised by that goal. 2 minutes into the second half. On it comes here to Mossy Quinn. Quinn bears in, he's tripped. Just outside, yeah.
But it was dangerous. He was through on goal again, and he was looking for the goal.
Well, I've no doubt that Paul Caffrey and the selector sat the Dublin players down at half-time and had words with them, and certainly they have come back and come out a new team. Dermot Geraghty will get a yellow card. That's a first for a Mayo player in this match.
Well, there's the professional foul in the amateur game, I think is the best way we can describe that, because he's through on goal if he's not fouled. It's cynical, but we allow for it.
Mossy Quinn 1 from 4 from frees from the first half. That one was from a 45-metre kick. So this from 13 metres out. That would normally like to play the second half kicking into the hill, into the canal end. He puts it safely between the posts. All going very nicely for Dublin, leading by 2 solid goals. Now it's really turned around full circle for Mickey Moran, playing so brilliantly up to half-time. Is there a plan B and a second life in the Connacht champions? Big test for them now. Dublin scrapping for everything. Darren McGee. It's a very, very good panel of players that Paul Caffrey's got at his disposal. Ray Cosgrove. Second time of asking, holding it up here. Cullen was ready to take it from him. Lobbed ahead towards Conal Keaney. David Heaney there saying, come on, he handled it on the ground, surely.
They have a great contest, the two of them, Heaney and Keeney, as you said earlier. They really are going at it, both of them. Great contest. This is the play. And he does.
Keith Higgins now. Lobbed into a two-man inside forward line. Kevin O'Neill with a great catch. They're ahead of Paul Casey. Oh, good block. Coming back was Kevin Bonner. Working it out, Coleman Goggins. This is Kieran Whelan. Into space, but not really giving the player who was aiming at Darren McGee much chance. Pat Hart instead for Mayo. Inside towards Alan Dillon. They need a score. Mortimer. 3 in the first half. And that's it. Well, it's taken Mayo 8 points, or 8 minutes rather, to get their first point of the second half. Mortimer's 4th of the day. 2-9 to 10, so 5 between them. Dublin have really opened up quite a gap. That was one Mayo needed.
Well, Mayo are going to need every leader they possibly have on the field now to stand up his full height. You're talking McDonald, McGarrity, our brother Heaney, Brady, these sort of guys, Jimmy Nallen. They just have to keep at it now, plough on, because they have a fair big hill in front of them.
We'll be hoping that point will lift them again and stop the rot from their point of view. But Whelan again with a mighty catch in the centre. Darren McGee nicely ahead here for Brogan, asking serious questions of Keith Higgins in this match. Again it's Brogan. Bonner available. The B squad combined, and that's over the bar. Nice point, beautifully worked. This is it again here. Kevin Bonner, the one who was coming in at the end of all of that, wisely using the fist. First of the day, two goals the margin once more.
I don't want to sound a bit smart and smarmy up here in my commentary box, but if Mickey Moore and John Morrison and co cannot spot that Brogan is really beating this Mayo team on his own and we need to change very quickly on it, well, I'm just not sure. Higgins is really having a hard day on Alan Brogan.
Well, Aidan Kilcoyne has come in. Many people thought he might have even started the match. He's come in for his 5th championship experience for Mayo. One of the under-21 stars, of course. David Brady now. Can he give the leadership? This is the occasion. There's still a good 25 minutes of this game to play. 2 goals between them. Dublin haven't conceded a goal in this year's championship so far. They're not going to concede with that limp Mayo attack. Dublin counter. Sherlock gives it to Geraghty. And Mayo can lift the siege again. They need a bit more belief. There are gaps ahead. Played nicely down to Keith Higgins. Oh, too far ahead of Gardner. Picked up by the other number 7. It's Coleman Goggins. Smartly worked ahead with good enterprising football by Dublin. Nice sequence of passes. Sherlock for Bonner. He's got his first point just moments ago. Bit of work for Keeney to do to keep it in, but he's done well. Right there near the goal line. Looking for another, and he fists it over the bar. That's a goal and 3 for Colonel Keeney. What a performance. All eyes concentrating fully on the task in hand, and then resolutely putting it over the bar.
Did very well. The game has really opened up here now. There's so much space, so many runners getting into those channels. A very open game now where you just have to pick your marker and stay with them. Andy Moran on there.
Moran's on for James Nallum. 6 points the difference, 7 points the difference.
Andy Moran is a forward as we know him. He's jogging down towards a defensive position. Hard to believe he'd be replacing Jimmy Nallen.
Well, a horrible 11.5 minutes of football for Mayo fans. Brilliant from a Dublin point of view. From being 1 behind, 6 ahead. Or rather, 7 ahead. Get the maths right. Brady, that's David Brady. Moran playing it back into him. Mayo needing scores to eat into the 7-point lead. Dillon on here for Ger Brady, getting by the would-be challenge. He kicks it with accuracy and puts it over for his 2nd point of the contest. And Mayo fans are not giving up on this game. Cheering to the rafters. Ger Brady's first point of the second half. second, as I say, in all. 2-11 to 11 points.
Lovely score, 100% accuracy for Ger Brady today. That's 2 from 2, 1 in each half. You remember the one with the outside in the first? That's a beauty. Just perhaps maybe a little bit biased there, Ger, but I think it sneaks in.
The referee, by the way, as we look at Stephen Cluxton here, the referee's gone behind the goal to have a word with his 2 umpires. Conor Mortimer, whatever they saw, bringing it to Paddy Russell's attention. I wonder, is it going to be another yellow card for a Mayo player following the intervention of the men in the white coats? So Mortimer joins Dermot Garrity from a Mayo point of view in the referee's notebook. 2 cards per team. Current tally. Cluxton once again from the Parnells club. Well, that's a bad kick out straight to Pat Hart. Will Dublin get careless? Mayo will hope so. They put so much into the opening 10 minutes of the second half. Mayo have a chance. Moran nicely inside here. Kilcoyne going to ground. Back up quickly, strongly. Mayo battling for everything. Paul Griffin in there as if his life depends upon it. Referee whistles favourably for Dublin. They get the free out.
Great tackling. We've been talking about this all week. That's what they're good at. If you bring it into the tackle, they'll gobble it up and take it over you, take it off you and turn it over.
Brian Cullen letting fly in towards Mossy Quinn, fisted away from him, but only back as far as Ray Cosgrove. Going to the left, held well there. Smart goalkeeper by David Clark, needing Aidan Higgins. Out as far as Dermot Garrity. So many hand passes last week in the match against Laois. They had something like 150 hand passes as opposed to 61 foot passes. Here's Patter Gardner. MacDonald once again. Inside towards Kevin O'Neill, jumping with Paul Casey. Opting to fist it away from O'Neill this time. Nicely back to Kilcoyne, trying to dart inside. Mayo may need a goal. Dillon will be happy with a point. He supplies it. 3 for Alan Dillon. Very sharp play by the left half forward.
There's another manager with 100% accuracy, Alan Dillon. He's had 3 shots at the target and he's swung all 3 over. That's a first for a lot of the Mayo forwards. Forwards are playing well, but it's just a little bit loose from the middle back.
Well, the talented Senan Cullen comes on as a replacement for Ray Cosgrove. Well, this is where Paul Caffrey has the luxury of being able to dip into his reservoir of talent, and it really is a very talented bench. But Mayo are battling again, trying to get it back. They've used 4 subs so far. This is Dave, used 5 subs, I think. This is MacDonald holding on to it. All or nothing for Mayo at this stage. Kevin O'Neill, beautiful ball ahead. Moran, chance, scores. Andy Moran in the 51st minute. What a time for Andy Moran to get his first ever goal in the championship. It has excited the Mayo crowd, lifted everybody, and Dublin concede their first goal in this year's championship. And we have some game. 2 between them. Dublin still lead.
It's the pass by Kevin O'Neill inside here that makes it. And Cluxton very unlucky because as he comes out to narrow it, he bangs into Shane Ryan. And that's what allows Andy Moore to turn around and slip it into the net. Great goal, game back on.
But Mayo, I'll remind you, even though we've been talking about temporary subs and so on with Dublin, I think from my list here that Mayo have used all 5 subs at this stage in the game. That's a huge one in by MacDonald. That's a good catch by Paul Casey. So from Mayo's point of view, with all of their subs used, it's like marriage, for better, for worse, from here on in. Here's Kevin Bonner. Shane Ryan. The Mayo fans in full voice. That's dropped over there by Conal Keaney. He's pointing the way. And the linesman in the end deciding that it's going to be a Dublin ball.
Or a throw up, is it? He's not quite saying what direction he's pointing the flag, Maurice Deegan. He's keeping his options open, I feel.
It's going up in the air and it's tilting towards the canal. Codal Keady to hit this one. Going short to Alan Brogan. Lovely step away from trouble. Won't curl sufficiently for him. Well, that was some surge at the start of the second half by Dublin, as Brogan has some words there with Aidan Higgins. It's taken a lot of energy from them, and that goal will have lifted Mayo no end. 211 to 112. In points, it's 17 points to 15.
Point to make about Mayo using all 5 subs. We'll have to come back to it later on. Have Dublin used a lot of theirs at the 2 temporaries? We don't know.
Haven't a clue. Kilcoyne going forward. Everybody chasing after him. Darren McGee's after him. Outside to Kevin O'Neill. It's on target. 1 point the margin. A most unlikely situation some minutes ago when there was 7 down. Kilcoyne set it up. On for Kevin O'Neill, and that's a second by the Nafiana player. Plays here in Dublin for Paul Caffrey's club.
Well, O'Neill is really turning the pages of this book over and over and over again. Gone back to his solid days of the early 90s. He's really single-handed brought Mayo back into this one.
Well, now questions being asked of Dublin again. They were coasting with this tie. Came out, did all they had to do. Have they done enough? Aidan Kilcoyne. Great substitutions made by Mickey Moran here. On it goes towards Alan Dillon. Chance of getting an equaliser here. Referee says play on. He kicks. It's over. They're level. In the 54th minute, they are level for the 6th time in a fascinating All-Ireland football semi-final.
Well, some minutes ago I was going to say, Ger, that Mayo were snookered, well snookered, and looking for new ones behind the black. Look what they've done, they've turned it around. Dillon gets a beauty, and we're level again. You couldn't believe this 10 minutes ago.
All of this in front of an attendance of 82,148. 17 points apiece, and Mayo have a free, and Kieran Whelan shaping up there to David Brady. Frustrated in the extreme. He's on a yellow card, remember.
Now, Brady won't take any prisoners, and I'm sure he's aware that Whelan is on the yellow too, and he's up in the ante.
There's going to be another temporary substitution. The referee has made a little T with his hands. So it's going to be Kieran Whelan. Little nick there under the left eye. Whelan pushed him, you can see there, as the ball was coming down. And what happened next? Well, he's ended up with a cut to the face. Dublin having to make another change, and Declan Lally is back on for the second time of the game. And I have to assume that they were 2 temporary substitutions in the first half, Kieran Whelan and Kevin Bonner. Good use of the temporary substitution, but we don't know about the injury situation at that stage, obviously. Talking points later on. Let's get on with the match. 17 each. Place of the final against Kerry at stake. Kieran MacDonald going to ground, and the referee gives him a free in. Dublin are absolutely shocked by all of this. The hill almost silent. Whelan ready to come back in very shortly.
Jared Mortimer swung one over against Galway to win the Connacht final. He swung one over here against Laois to draw it, wasn't it, a few weeks ago?
That's right.
Well, this is just as crucial. This is a big statement if Mayo can get their noses in front. It's not an easy one, but I'd be expecting them to get very close.
He has some record with points. Today he's got 4 in this game. Coming into it, Conor Mortimer had kicked 102 points, 106 points in 24 championship matches. This is his 24th. This to put Mayo in front. 25 metres out. He's caught it beautifully. Mayo lead Dublin. Some match. What a contest. It's gone this way and that. Dublin set out as though they were going to lord it over Mayo, and Mayo then got the first 4 scores. Then Dublin got a crucial goal after 23 minutes. Various incident and exciting moments at that stage. 9 points to 1-5 at half-time. Mayo leading as Whelan comes back on. And then you remember the goals, and you remember Dublin leading by 7 points. And now it's turned around again in favour of Mayo. The Connacht champions leading.
Mayo have an injury problem now on the far side of the field. It's number 7, I do believe, Tyler Gardner. And Mayo have used all 5 subs. So now we have a problem.
Now we have further drama. He's got to stay on the field. He's okay. Man from Crossmolina, worried, very worried. Dublin supporters. It wasn't meant to be like this. They were supposed to be winning this game. It was supposed to be Kerry versus Dublin in 3 weeks' time. Still time.
I should say also, Ger, that Keith Higgins is now picking up Alan Brogan, and maybe that's a reason we haven't heard a little bit about him in the last few minutes.
Here's MacDonald. Various Dublin players coming to try and dispossess him. Angled down towards Kevin O'Neill. Anticipated by Andy Moore. Better anticipated by Shane Ryan. Taking on responsibility. Dragged back there by Mortimer, who's on a yellow card. Has to be careful. He's been shown the book. Referee opting not to give him a second yellow. He's got to be careful, Conor Mortimer. Stephen Cloxton. About 12 minutes still to play. Those are the vital statistics from kickouts 1. Here's Kevin Bonner. Looking to tie it up again. Has an option to dish it off. It's a real hit and hope one. Lobbed in towards Keeney. They're fisting it. Reacting quickest of all here, Kieran MacDonald. People were questioning his work rate after the quarter-final. He's giving everybody an answer here in the semi-final in a match of wonderful entertainment.
Brian Cullen has that ball in his hand, and just as he has, I suppose it reminds me we haven't heard as much about Brian as we thought we would. He's had a quieter game today.
Paul Caffrey issuing the instructions, looking for even more effort from the 15 players out there representing Dublin. Referee having a word there with Maurice Deegan from Laois. The other lines with us, Cormac Riley from Meath. Now, who does he want to talk to here?
Might be number 20 for Dublin. He seems to be walking towards him.
Well, he's seen the back of number 20. That's Senem Connell.
Mr. Keeney, is it? Mr. Heaney.
Yeah. He's found his man. Conal Keeney not booked before. Goal and 3 points.
No idea what that's for at this moment, but it is a yellow.
It's a yellow card, and Kevin, there are 10.5 minutes left in this intriguing semi-final.
Terrific game. Both
Mayo
sides
edging it.
Both sides have taken tremendous credit. It's a super game to date.
Conal Keeney drops short here for David Clark. Remember, they finish level with Kevin McStay playing and Martin Carney playing back in 1985. 20 years earlier, or 30 years earlier, 1955, they were level as well. This is the 7th ever championship match between Dublin and Mayo. David Heaney escaping the clutches of Paul Casey. Out of play, line ball to Mayo. So many weary players out there right now. Dublin are using up another one of their subs, and coming in for them, Declan Lally coming back in, but of course he's been on earlier, and it seems Shane Ryan is the one who is making way.
That sideline ball that we thought on the far side has actually turned into a free and a black card also for, I think it was David Henry. Referee flashed it in that direction. Shane Ryan coming off has had a good day. Worked extremely hard for Dublin. Super match for Shane Ryan.
He's had a terrific season, a very honest player, given everything he's got. Time for a change. This match is hanging in the balance.
He'll go close with this, Ger.
Kieran MacDonald. One so far, that was from the sideline of the first half. Dropped in this time. Dangerously, what a catch! Brilliantly taken by Kieran Whelan. Out it comes to Kevin Bonner. Now it's a case of being positive. But that wasn't the best of passes. Patter Gardner instead. Dermot Geraghty going across once again to the security of Kieran MacDonald. Seeking out a support player. David Brady. Hand passed ahead for Gardner. Mayo leading by a point. Gardner pursued vigorously. Kevin O'Neill, awkward angle, almost impossible angle. Ball gone wide. 62 minutes of the game are gone.
Yeah, I think Alan Dillon was the better option. He came off his man just off the penalty spot. O'Neill is coming onto his wrong side for a kid thug, and they're difficult ones. Dillon was the better show, I believe.
That was only Mayo's first wide of the second half. They're fifth in all. Paul Caffrey's team with 7 wides. They've only had 1 wide in the second half also. Well, after they blitzed Mayo, and you thought, well, this game is almost over, 10 minutes into the second half, Ger Brady and company have battled with great courage. Dillon, back to Brady again. What have the Dubs got left in the tank? David Brady running into challenges. David Henry was there, so too was Kieran Whelan. And what's the referee going to do?
I believe he'll hop it because David Brady just threw himself into the tackle. I don't think the Dublin lads can be penalised for this one. What you hear, he's just throwing himself back into that tackle.
They did nothing.
That's a hop at the very most. It might even be a free out to Dublin when things settle down.
Team doctor in there to attend to the Mayo player, Fergal Rowan. And the referee is, quite correctly, going to throw the ball up. How come we have 2 players for duty of the others stand back? They very rarely
No
do.
chance.
No chance. Kieran Whelan there against Pat Hart. 2 big men from the centre of the park. But this is down 25-30 metres out from the Dublin end line. Dublin need the ball, but it's Mayo who've got it, and it's Ger Brady. And the referee has blown his whistle and signalled that it's going to be a free in.
Well, did I say the last one that Mortimer got was important? This is absolutely critical. 6 minutes or so left on the clock. Exact same position again, Ger.
Mark Vaughan, will he be the man to come in to change the game in Dublin's direction? Because they could go 2 points down in the next couple of seconds. Conor Mortimer, he's on a yellow card and a ticking, but more importantly, he's kicked 4 points. He's got a chance of a 5th.
How wide are those posts now in front of the hill? Big kick for you, Mortimer.
Listen to the hill, trying to put him off, trying to intimidate him. The student from DCU. He's put it to the left. He's misdirected it. It remains Mayo 115, Dublin 211. That is 18 points to 17. And Mark Vaughan comes on in place of Tomas Mossy Quinn for the last, 5.5 minutes or thereabouts.
That's a free taker off as well, Ger. We should say that.
True. They've got to take gambles. They're trying to stay in the championship. This is what it's about. Tense Sendeji and Kieran MacDonald, who would just love to get back into the final again, especially after the wretched memory of 2004 when they lost badly, big time, to Kerry. Kerry are waiting. Brian Cullen is maybe going to see a card here, right in the centre of the park.
Yeah, that was the action he had there with Kieran MacDonald. A little bit overly aggressive. Paddy Russell not happy. Yellow.
That's 3-4 yellow cards now for Dublin players, Colin Whelan, Keady and Sherlock. Dublin are aware of the time situation from the big clock on the screen. They know it's only 4.5 minutes left. MacDonald and Mayo trying to hold the ball. Kevin O'Neill, what a player to be able to give it to tease Paul Casey again, back towards Dillon, who's got 5 points in this match. Wonderful contribution. Moran, that's Andy Moran, back to MacDonald. Is this to be another red letter day for Mayo? There haven't been too many of those. Comes to David Brady, released there to Aidan Higgins, pushed outside to Dillon. Dillon to crack one, it's going away from the target, but it's still in play. It needs Cluxton. Cluxton comes decisively.
Clement Goggins did brilliant there to get the block on Dillon. That's why he went so high.
This is Lally. Listen to the Dublin crowd now rolling him on. It's on towards Alan Brogan. A point behind. Alan Brogan, 20 metres out with the left, looking for the equaliser. It's over! The teams are level for the 7th time. Does any team now really deserve to lose this wonderful All-Ireland football semi-final? Brogan with the 4th. Well, this was all about skill, artistry, but he had the courage and determination to take it on himself. Knew all about responsibility and clipped it over the bar. 2-12 for Dublin, 1-15 for Mayo, and Dublin have made another change. Coming into the team is Collie Moran, who is of course the team captain, and Kevin Bonner has been on and off like a yo-yo. He's gone off. Well, David Brady.
The one man you wanted was Brogan on the end of that, wasn't he?
Coleman Goggins now. Dublin come looking for the lead. Mark Vaughan. That looks good. It's off the post. It's down to safety to Aidan Higgins. 18 points apiece. 67 minutes and counting gone. Pothart holding on for dear life. Darren McGee there as well. Hart looking for a support player. It's Andy Moran. It's out as far as Kieran MacDonald. It's ahead to Ger Brady. He has a support player. It's Keith Higgins. If he reaches him, he has. Higgins pursued by Lally. Goes to ground. No foul. On to Kevin O'Neill. Looking to try and get some space. 4 Dublin players are near it. Kieran MacDonald. It's high. It's over. Kieran MacDonald has put over his second point of this game. Will he ever get a more vital one than that? To edge Mayo, the Connacht champions, into a 1-point lead in the 68th minute. The pass from O'Neill, the point from MacDonald.
Well, Gerard, this match is going to go down for a long, long time as one of the matches of the decade for sure. It is absolutely superb. It's got everything. It's absolutely got everything. One team forges ahead, then it's pulled back level. Great scores, great misses, great excitement. We're really privileged to be here, there's no question. Looking awful like the draw to me. Have to see Dublin attacking with a couple of minutes to go. They have to throw everything at them now.
We'll leave the draw and the headache that's associated with that for the authorities. David Heaney limping back into it. Paul Caffrey's team has had a terrific second half. It's a real roller coaster, an overused word I know, for both teams, for both managers, for the fans. As Kevin McStay says, a privilege to be here. Kieran Whelan. He's gone off, he's come back. Dublin are looking for a lead. Vaughan coming into it. So too is Colin Moran. But instead it's picked up here by Aidan Kilcoyne from Knockmore. They work it across to Aidan Higgins. They work it to Gardner. Onto the midfielder Pat Hart. Chased by Coleman Goggins. We're into, or very nearly into, the 70th minute of this match. MacDonald holding it. In points, it's Mayo who lead by 19 to 18. And it comes here to Darren McGee. Huge one in. Watch the whole time. Higgins is chasing it. So too Jason Sherlock, who got a goal after 37 minutes. Rattled the crossbar in the first half. And now he's got a 45-metre free for his team. All the drama unfolding at Croke Park in front of over 82,000 people.
Jason did great there. He didn't foul him, no question. Heaney did great too. Higgins did great to get out in front of Sherlock as well.
We've
great
got
stuff.
a 45, Kevin. You know who's off the field at this stage.
Yeah, so it would be difficult at any rate, sure, because it'll be his wrong side. But I have seen Vaughan last year kick some savage points. This is not easy. This is not easy. It's going against him. That's more than 45, of course, sure. That's about 48, 49 metres as the crow flies.
Mark Vaughan, or Vaughan, from Kilmacud Crokes, the man with the white boots, to try and level it in stoppage time. High, driving in, moving, travelling, hits the crossbar. Out as far as Jason Sherlock. Will he pop it over? Great block down. Comes out again here to the substitute, Darren McGee. They work it away and Mayo have it to Gardner. They have it out once again to Dermot Geraghty. And now it's out by Brady. Out to Alan Dillon. Mayo are hanging on by a point here. How much stoppage time is the referee going to allow on, you wonder? Half a minute has already been played.
I didn't see it, Jess.
3 minutes, we're told. 3 minutes.
Oh.
2.5 still to go then.
Good news for Dublin, I'd say. The Mayo crowd.
I thought that hit the crossbar. In fact, it was fisted out.
It was. Clark has great height in that position, of course, and got it away. But the 2 blocks after, Joe, were fantastic.
Just listen to the crowd. Just listen to the noise that 82,000 people can make. On the hill they're cheering, all around the stands. We can watch it here. It's a carnival atmosphere. It's got the feel of an All-Ireland final, but it's only the semi. A passageway to a meeting with Kerry available to one of these teams. Mayo edging it. Dublin have possession. David Henry. Up it comes as far as Jason Sherlock. Beaten to possession, but he wins it back. The man who won an All-Ireland medal is a 19-year-old, 11 years ago. High challenge. Referee might have given a free. He has now. They finally heard the whistle. And this has to be it, I think. There'll be a minute and a half still to play after this kick is taken.
Yeah, that ball has to come way, way back. Jason did gain some metres when he was fouled.
Mark Vaughan, once again, entrusted with this one. He hit the last one, a fair old belt. Just taken down for maybe even over the crossbar by the goalkeeper last time out. They want Dermot Geraghty back a little bit, Dublin. He's just 13 metres or so away from Mark Vaughan. Outside the 45, Dublin needing this to level the game. It's going right, it's going wide, it's gone wide. Mayo 116, Paul Caffrey's Dublin 212 in points. It's 19-18.
There's a bit of football left yet, sure. There's a minute, I would estimate, a minute left. So Mayo, if they want to hold out, have to be clever. Time for another attack from Dublin. I'd be pretty sure about that.
Unrehearsed drama. You couldn't script it. Impossible. An emotional afternoon. There's about a minute left. Out as far as David Brady. Mayo just needing to hold it and do nothing silly. Dublin have to win the ball back. That's a slack pass. But Hart trying to get there first. Mayo trying to keep it down in that corner. And that'll be a line ball to Dublin. But we have now played the 3 minutes of stoppage time. Is it Mayo versus Kerry? Have Dublin got an answer? Can they get the ball back? They're not being allowed even the latitude to kick the ball back in. Kevin O'Neill, eager, anticipating. Dublin have it now. Cluxton will have to fire it forward via a couple of players. Dublin have to go for it. This is it. All eyes on the referee.
He's bringing it back, Charles.
He's bringing it back.
It's a 13-metre penalty for Kevin O'Neill, blocking the guy who's Brian Cullen taking the sideline ball.
Well, there are two balls on the field. Well, you're looking at one of the footballs on the field. Sorry about that, folks. Down at the other end. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, our match referee, Paddy Russell, looks cool and calm. Only he knows how many seconds are left. David Brady wants to know.
Surely.
We have played 4 minutes of stoppage time. It's all over. Mayo have beaten Dublin in the All-Ireland football semi-final. Paul Caffrey's team are out in as dramatic an All-Ireland semi-final as I think we have witnessed at Croke Park. Conor Mortimer with 4 goals and wonderful leadership. A Mayo team who probably just about believed it was possible. The fans came with hope, with expectation, knew they were going to be up against it. Big test against Dublin, the Leinster champions. But Mortimer and Cluxton, college mates at DCU, they leave together, arm in arm. It is Mayo who have prevailed. Mayo who travelled to the All-Ireland football final. Dublin absolutely crestfallen. Winners, losers, victors and vanquished.
What a match, Ger, fantastic.
A replay of the 2004 final. Mickey Moran has taken his team. All of the flack that has been directed at him over the last number of months, he has answered his critics. His team have performed some wonderful stuff. Remember, they were 7 points behind about 10 minutes into the second half. I don't have the full details, but that was the situation.
It's an incredible story, really. I mean, Mayo, in many eyes, come from nowhere. A lot of people felt they had no right to turn up. They did turn up, and turned up with some bang, I can assure everybody.
That goal by Andy Warren after 51 minutes, so important. Cancelling out the Jason Sherlock goal after 37 and Conal Keaney after 23, really. Because at Croke Park, in a wonderful semi-final, Mickey Moran's team have reached the final. They'll be here in 3 weeks' time. And Paul Caffrey can only look on after a wonderful season where, under his stewardship, they retained the Leinster title. But they really met their match here. Dublin surged ahead for about 15 minutes of the second half, could not maintain it. And Mayo, I think, have played among the best football they have ever played at Croke Park. It's a long time since they won the All-Ireland. 1951 the last year, of course. This is a new era. And the full-time score reads, Mayo 116, Dublin 2 goals and 12. Wow, it was some match. It really was. The crowd has enjoyed it enormously. Let's go down to Dara Maloney on the sideline. Dara.
Mickey, you're holding up the Mayo crest on your shirt. How do you feel? Unbelievable. A lot of emotion with this, Mickey. What's in your head right now, Mickey?
I just can't think. Look, it all boiled down. The team talk boiled down to one word: faith. Too many people in this world hope things go. We've been very charitable in the old teams in the past. Faith and belief in ourselves. And for Lynette O'Hara, getting treatment on the matter. I have a jersey for you, Lynette, and we've got you to the final. You're going to see it.
I spoke to you before the match. You were very relaxed. You knew your team could do this today. You had that faith and that belief.
It's not about me, it's about partnership, the whole 30 players, the background team and the board. All I said all year, what's in the change rooms is all that matters. And as long as we believe, it's a great victory, especially the way we come back. But we'll enjoy it, but we're in the final, which Kerry will be something else.
Yeah, your old friends, Kerry again, huh?
Yes, but my new friends are Mayo.
You'll enjoy today. Mickey, thank you so much for your time. Thank you, well done. Back to Michael.
Dara, thank you very much indeed. Dublin were superb. Mayo were even more superb. What a game of football that was. I have to say I thoroughly enjoyed it. And every congratulations to Mickey Moran and to his team. The view of Joe Bradley and Colin O'Rourke right after this break. Be a Dub fan, isn't it? Poor lad, he'll see other good days with the Dubs in the future, no doubt about that. Others just speechless, speechless, speechless. But down in Mayo, I suppose they'll empathise, but they're in the final.
Listen, I mean, it was a heroic, unforgettable Mayo performance. I mean, the greatest performance by a Mayo team in living memory, and you know, exercising a lot of the ghosts of the past. I mean, very well prepared, fitness excellent, you know, and I mean, it was by a long chalk the best game of the year. And their refusal to wilt when they went 7 points behind says something to their psychological strength and their economy. Well, whatever, you know, and I mean, you have to say that the management have turned out, I mean, what we now see to be a very fine team. I mean, like, until now they've been dominating games and not scoring and playing badly but winning.
Yeah.
But today you saw really an unforgettable performance by what looks like a team that can make a serious challenge now for an All-Ireland.
You were making the point to me that when Derry won the All-Ireland in '93, Mickey Moran was involved with that team, and you were in a similar situation.
Actually, I was making the point this morning, probably when nobody had even tuned in before the Tommy Murphy Cup, that you know, if you can silence the Hill and you can put them under pressure and they start to get nervous. The Hill was silent after that 7-minute spell in the second half. Once Mayo rode them back in the last 10 minutes the Hill was silent. I remember in '93, Mickey Moran, we were 5 points behind in the All-Ireland semi-final. Mickey was the sort of quiet, reserved coach. You know, Eamon Coleman did all the talking, and he was the big personality. And Mickey made a most amazing half-time oration to the Derry team that day and rose us all, because we didn't. I mean, Mickey wasn't that sort of personality. We came out in the second half and we accelerated past the Dubs and they froze just like that. Like that. You know, now, I mean, it was a huge achievement to come from 7 points behind.
Well,
I mean,
I was just going to say, Colin, I mean, the way Dublin started the second half, I mean, the points that they banged over from Alan Brogan and J.O.'s goal, it looked like it was Dublin's day then.
Yeah, well, if I live to be 100, I'm not going to ever see a better game than this. And, you know, how Mayo came back into this game is just fantastic, and it showed the bravery and spirit that they have in the team, because when we were looking down here and Bonner came in with this, they did a couple of very neat hand passes, and when J.O. scored, and J.O. of all players sort of put the Dublin crowd wild. But you know, Joe was making the point about the crowd react to what's happening on the field.
Yes.
And I always said that, you know, if you were playing well, the crowd quietened very, very quickly. And even though J.O. scores, the type of performance that Mayo gave for the last 25 minutes when they outscored Dublin by 1-6 to a point, you know, is the greatest comeback story that'll ever be written in Mayo. And you know, all the great performance.
They look so composed in the second half.
They never lost away. They never give up the hope, because even when they're 7 points behind, we're creating plenty of chances. And their forward line were still making the runs. I thought Alan Dillon was absolutely superb all through in that game. But a lot of Mayo players just threw themselves into tackle, even in the last catch there by Pat Hart. It showed a sort of a bravery of spirit that we...
David Heaney had no business being on the field in the last 10 minutes because he was injured, but he couldn't go off because they had no sub.
And they fought on, and you know, at one stage it looked as if Alan Brogan was going to destroy Keith Higgins and win the game on his own. 3 points in the start of the second half, and yet Mayo backs, they did their bit of shifting around and they still covered off.
Let's have a look at the Mayo goal, Joe.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was coming, you have to say. I mean, even though, I mean, you know, like, Dublin won the first 7 kickouts of the second half, and during that period in time, 7 minutes it took them to go 7 points up. But as Colin says, Mayo, who were in the groove at half time, and once a team gets into the groove, normally they stay in it. They just kept plugging away, and they continued throughout the game, apart from that 7-minute spell, to be the better team.
Yeah.
And they richly deserved that, you know, and in a way, Dublin's attempt to shake them off was a sort of a desperate attempt, but when that failed, that was it. I mean, after that, for the last 25 minutes, it was all Mayo, and it was only a matter of whether or not they could catch them.
And yet, I mean, the beauty of it was drama down to the last. I mean, it was absolute nail-biting stuff looking around the stadium here.
You know, the players were the coolest of the 82,000 that were here, because they had, and Brogan scored a brilliant point to level it, and I was sort of half hoping that the referee would blow it up at some stage and that we'd have a draw and come back, because it was such a memorable game of football. You'd like to see more of that.
Yeah.
But Mayo in that last quarter of the game were the better team. They played the more composed football. Dublin became a bit frantic, you know, did a few silly things, gave the ball away. When Mayo got it, what they were very good at was holding on to the ball. Even at times when you'd say, why don't they lash it up? They were great at just putting the ball through their hands. And it showed, I think, Mickey Moore and John Morrison's training methods. You know, they moved the ball across the field, and eventually somebody would make a move inside. Mortimer ran himself, you know.
And their conditioning column, their fitness was excellent.
Mortimer ran himself into the ground, and so did Dylan Up. And the subs to put on, Barry Moore and Aidan Kilcoyne, they all played a vital part.
Kilcoyne got the goal there, yes.
Yeah, so it was a complete panel effort, just as much as anything else, because it was Kevin O'Neill who threaded through that most beautiful of passes which set up the goal. And you know,
in a way he sort of changed the game when he came on, because he came on, first 2 touches he scored 2 points. He has that extra bit of skill and vision, you know. And
the last day he was taken off here, he'd come on as a sub and he was taken off again, and he hit one of the Mayo officials going off, so obviously he wasn't too pleased with that. He had a point to prove today, clearly.
He certainly had, and when he got the ball there was danger.
Well, he proved
even though there was one time with about 65 minutes gone when he had a chance of a point, and then Mortimer missed the free, and I said, it's not going to be like this again for Mayo, but they hung in, and then McDonald scored the most brilliant winner that you could ever see.
Well, gentlemen, now we know the lineup for this year's All-Ireland football final. The only small matter now is the hunt for tickets. Well, if Joe Brolly and Colin O'Rourke are nice to us, we might just invite them back again for the next day. We'll see you next Sunday, hopefully.
Huge crowds will gather for a wide variety of national and international events. But will any venue produce quite the same atmosphere as a full house in Croke Park when the Dubs come out to play? Mayo arrive in headquarters for the All-Ireland Senior Football semi-final, challenging Dublin for the right to meet Kerry in a mid-September showdown. We've passion, commitment and no little skill on show in the Tommy Murphy Cup final, with Leitrim and Louth fiercely contesting the silverware. Minor football provides another confrontation between Connacht and Leinster, this one showcasing the best young talent from Meath and Roscommon. And we look ahead to next weekend's big day out for Cork and Kilkenny with our preview of the 2006 All-Ireland Senior Hurling Final. You're very welcome once again to the Sunday Game. To broadcast your views on today's matches, just text the word game, followed by a space, followed by your comments to this number, 53555. That's 53555. With us tonight for our football action are Tony Davis and Anthony Toll. Gentlemen, you're very welcome. Pete Finnerty and Tomas Mulcahy will be along later for our hurling preview. But first to football and the second semi-final of the All-Ireland Senior Championship. For this past few weeks, a final pairing between Kerry and Dublin has been the constant prediction for many quarters. But Connacht's finest are far more than bit players in this particular drama. To see how they fare today against the Dubs, here's our men, Kevin McStay.
When they reeled off, was it 1-4, turned things right around. When they reeled off, was it 1-4, turned things right around. They had a 6-point lead. Like, your guys must have been on the floor at that time. There was still plenty of time in the match, but it was a bad period for Mayo.
Yeah, it was, and we lost Ronan, who's been one of our superb players all year, and we just lost our rhythm a wee bit in the kickouts. But we got it sorted out. David Brady went in and that, and we got the things sorted out. And we started one kickouts, and I knew then whenever we were on the ball, the legs were still there. You know, the legs were still there, and we were cutting through. And I knew if we could just get a score, and you know, Andy Moran, going to put him on. He's usually half forward, and he played inside forward for us for a while during the year. And we decided to just put him on for James and attack. He says, I'll get you a goal. I will get you a goal. and that was it. And he did. He popped up. It must have been. It was a clinking move, like. But I took it, and the blocking and the tackling near the end, because Dublin were coming at us. And but it was such a marvellous game of football to be involved in, and we're delighted, obviously, to be in the All-Ireland final. But you know, in about an hour's time, we'll be thinking, Kerry.
I'm awful proud of the Dublin team, as I hope our supporters are. They've turned into a great battling team this year. They've given great value, and it's a shattered dressing room in there. You know, a point defeat in a semi-final is heartbreak stuff, but that's sport. You know, everything in context. Them Dublin players did Dublin proud.
Listen, lads, loads of texts about the game, and all in general agreement. Same team. Colm O'Morcon, Keelan County Cork. They gave us the football match of a lifetime. Catherine O'Connor, County Cork. Brilliant, great game. Colm O'Rourke says if he lives till 100, he will probably never see a better game. Now, Tony, as you know, I'm a crank as well, but I couldn't find fault with this. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah,
did you?
Absolutely. It was magnificent. It was a roller coaster of emotion. What a drama from the very start. From the moment Mayo walked out in the field, sat down for the photograph and went down to Hill 16, the whole thing started. It was just magnificent stuff. The scores by both sides, and I include Dublin in this, but I don't think ever again we can question the character of this Mayo team. We've sat here for years, Pat, and we've been showing highlights of Mayo dominating games but not finishing it. They have leaders on the field now, Pat, and they're finishing very well. They definitely deserve to win the game, but it was a magnificent spectacle and well played by both teams.
A magnificent spectacle, Anthony?
Without a doubt, Pat, this was a truly outstanding game of football. It was just a privilege to have been alive to have watched that game. Absolutely magnificent.
No faults?
No faults at all. We sat last week and we talked about, you know, do we need to have a perfect game of football to keep pundits happy? And I think today we got about as close as we're going to ever get to perfection. That game had everything. Absolute joy.
Come here, listen, lads. For the last week in the build-up, we've been hearing it's going to be a Kerry-Dublin final. It's going to be a Kerry-Dublin final. We're going to rehash the 70s and 80s again. But Mayo hadn't read the script, lads.
No.
Weren't they getting the credit? And I raised this question last Sunday. They weren't getting the credit they deserved.
No, Pat, but I suppose in all the games they've played, all right, they have had a lot of possession, but they haven't been converting it. But here today, they were magnificent. They have leaders all over the field, all right. When you look at Kieran MacDonald, you look at Brady, you look at even Kevin O'Neill coming off the sideline. We spoke about the Dublin substitutes being strong, but look at the subs that came in for Mayo today. They all worked. They all got their scores. They came back from behind. These are characteristics of champions, Pat. So they're there. They're a team on the up as well.
Anthony, the Dubs got no test in this year's championship. Did this come against them today?
I think without doubt, Pat. That was a big worry that I had about Dublin, was that they were untested. They got a bit of a fright against Longford, but really in the other games they coasted through them. And I think, you know, it meant that Paul Caffrey couldn't really change his side. So, you know, you went into today's game with the same team, and when you needed to bring fellas in off the bench to change the pattern of the game, the lads hadn't really saw enough championship football to make a contribution, and I think that's really cost them. But credit to Mayo, they were absolutely magnificent.
Like these Mayo boys, a lot of them have been in All-Ireland club finals, they've been in National League semi-finals, National League final. None of the Dubs have been.
No, that's right. But I think, you know, most people thought that Dublin would have been too strong today for Mayo. I suppose, you know, the big test still lies ahead for Mayo if they can see if they can go on and win it. I think Dublin are certainly a team that are well down the road in terms of their development, and we haven't seen the last of them.
Absolutely, but
Dublin?
they still, yes, Dublin only lost by a point, Pat.
Yes.
And like they had goal opportunities, they had several opportunities. Colin Keeney punched the ball over the bar once. J.O. hit the crossbar. They missed a few frees. They had the opportunities.
Do you think there's an All-Ireland in them
I
still?
definitely think there's an All-Ireland. I think they've improved since last year. They've gone one step further. They've gone to the semi-final. So it's not all over for Dublin. Dublin, it takes a while to get to the level of winning. It is, and semi-finals are there to be won. You know, they didn't take their chances. Pat.
Listen, Tony, we've been here for years in the Sunday Game studio ridiculing Mayo forwards. They've been the butt of so many jokes. They've been the Achilles heel of many Mayo teams. Today, when push came to shove, when they needed to be counted, they stood up.
They were magnificent, Pat, and it was freedom, it was absolute free-flowing football. They had no doubt whatsoever from the very start that they were going to... Now, we spoke about Morris Fitz's point in Thurles a few years ago against Dublin. That's absolutely as good. That was 11 minutes, two scores to no score. Here we have Colin Morgan, not your typical full forward inside, but he wins some really hard ball, giving it off. And look at this for a point. Joe Brady.
Outside the right foot.
Fantastic, 19 minutes. This was just after the wheeling incident, so that was very important. The other Brady gave you a great ball into Dylan. This guy was magnificent today.
Great movement.
Super ball in. And look at him running again at the heart of the defence. That killed Cullen at centre-back today. People running at him. The strength. And here we have Mayo going up again. This is the Kevin O'Neill inside the full forward. The winning point.
Come at the hour, come at the man.
The winning point. There he is. Again, much ridiculed footballer, but a terrific footballer. And just one other point I'd like to make. I was in the hotel last weekend and there was loads of kids there. That fellow went around and shook hands with every one of those kids inside in that hotel.
I think what's particularly pleasing for Mayo, Pat, was they scored 114 out of the 116 from play, which was
magnificent.
That tells its own story. Anthony, the Dubs came out after half-time, a transformed team, scored 1-3 in the first 3 minutes. How did this transformation come about?
Well, they obviously had a good chat at half-time and a good look at themselves. And going in a point down, they weren't really in that bad a position, but you know, it was almost the Alan Brogan show for the first 10 minutes after half-time. That was a great point under pressure, and you know, it was a wonderful goal showing the support play and the quick hands across to Jason Sherlock, who there's a wee bit of a debate there as to whether or not this was legal in terms of how he changed it, kind of took control of the ball and get it into the net, but for me that's a good goal. And then it was a Brogan again. You know, Mayo for
goal chance here
today. Nah, not really, Pat. I think at that stage of the game, Dublin were steamrolling Mayo, and it was just a matter of chipping over as many points.
So what happened? What happened after that?
Well, I think after that, you know, the Mayo midfield got on top, and in the last 25 minutes of the game, we already said that Dublin only scored 1 point from play, and that came from Alan Brogan. But in that 25-minute period, every single kick-out was won by Mayo. They went back to kicking a couple of shorts to get in possession, and they just steamrolled Dublin. The Dublin attack, which again didn't really function as well as could have been the case. They left too much to Brogan, Colin Keaney,
Jason Sherlock as well.
A lot of texts and emails on timekeeping, and this is probably typifies of Richard from Dublin says Mayo got away with loads of time wasting near the end of the game. If the ref had allowed Dublin finish the final attack of the game, we could have had a draw. You've had a look at it.
Yeah, certainly some merit.
3 minutes injury time play today.
3 minutes was initially signalled.
Right, we can see here now.
This is just 30 seconds into injury time, so it's 70 minutes and 30 seconds. Alan Dillon gets injured.
So it's stopped.
Yeah, this should be additional injury time that should be added on.
Yeah. So stopped at 70-30.
Stopped at 70-30.
It's on again now. The ball is kicked.
Kicked at 71-10.
That's 40 seconds of it.
So that's 40 seconds of time that should have been added on top of the 3 minutes of injury time. And then when we got towards the end of the game, the ball went down.
Kevin O'Neill stopped the kick.
So again, the play actually developed from here, and the Dubs attacked, but the referee brought it all back to make Dublin.
So what are you saying?
To make Dublin retake the sideline.
Really, what we're saying
as soon as the sideline was retaken, he blew it up.
Yeah. So the time for Alan Dillon's injury wasn't allowed as such.
He blew up 40-second shot. Is that what?
That's more than enough to have allowed Dublin.
But at the same time, injury time is at the discretion of the referee. It doesn't necessarily need to be 3 minutes.
But it should be at least 3 minutes.
Is that correct?
It's a minimum of 3 minutes.
But if Dublin scored, lads, if Dublin scored 1 point in the last 25 minutes, they were hardly probably likely.
Yeah, but they had possession of the ball. Like, you know, if you're a Dublin player looking at that.
Listen, lads, 40% of the texts and emails that came in today came on one incident alone, an incident involving Kieran Whelan. Bobby from County Wexford said, Kieran Whelan should have been sent off. It's not the first time he's gotten away with it. Richard from County Cavan, it's high time the GA take control of their game and punish Kieran Whelan. Maybe the Dublin County Board will take a leaf out of Manchester City's book, and if you can remember, they banned Ben Thatcher for an incident during the week. If had a look at the Kieran Whelan incident, what did he make of it?
Definitely, and it had a vital part to play in the game, really, because here we can see the incident itself first of all, and without any doubt in the world, it is a sending off incident. No doubt in the world, clear. Maybe he was going for the ball, but he didn't get the ball, and he got Ronan McGarity, who had to go off with concussion not far after that. You must remember at this stage, it was Mayo had a great start, all right. From then on, Dublin came back into the game, and McGarity had to go off, and Whelan stayed with McGarity. Whelan stayed on the pitch, and had a vital part to play in the first half, because when he went off the pitch, Dublin came back into it and got the scores coming up to half time.
What did you make of it, Anthony?
Well, you know, in fairness, like when midfielders are jumping for possession of the ball from whatever age, and you're playing midfield, you're told, if you're not going to be able to catch the ball, you go up and break it. And if you can't get your fist in to break the ball, what you try and do is you try and hit the arm of your opponent to stop.
But it's not the first time Kieran
Whelan. What happened
with
with Kieran Whelan was he obviously was coming. He was late in terms of his attempt to break the ball, and he just carried on through. And you know, when you run the risk, and I think on balance he was lucky stay in the pitch for that instance.
Right. If 40% were about Kieran Whelan, 30% of the texts and emails were on the pre-match shenanigans. Richie from County Cork. Who do Dublin think they are? Mayo were at the hill end first. Tony from County Kildare. Like Colm O'Rourke said, the Dubs don't own Croke Park. Mayo, like anyone else, are entitled to warm up in front of the Hill 16 end. You would never see Cork carry on like that in Páirc Uí Chaoimh, or Limerick at the Gaelic grounds, or Tip and Thurles. This proved to upset Dublin early on before the throw-in. What did he make of it?
Well, it was very unfortunate.
We can see from the team photograph that they intended at all stages, the players anyway, to go down to the hill. All right. So obviously it was discussed with the thing, but as we see it goes on, Mickey Moran didn't seem to be too happy with it. He wanted to go up to the other end. But do you see him consulting here
with the senior players,
with David Brady actually, you know,
and then he goes to talk to his captain, David Heaney, and it's as if he's telling David to take the players up the end of the pitch, and David Heaney's saying, no, we're going to stay here. You know, and there's no real need for this, Pat, at the start of the game.
And then Paul Caffrey?
Well, the management teams get to know each other a little bit better.
He's shifted Morrison easy. Morrison's no lightweight.
But you know what, Pat? Whatever their plan was, it did upset Dublin.
Did it?
Dublin, I believe it did, because look, Dublin script everything. Everything is down to the minute. Everything is down to huddling in front of the Hill 16 and everything. And look, all you have to do is look at the scores for the first.
They didn't score for the first.
They did not, and they looked all over the place.
So it worked.
I think it did work. And you know something else? I think it was done by the players themselves, and not so much Mickey Moran.
Well, let's hear what Conor Mortimer had to say about the incident after the game.
I think we always, for the last 3 games we've played, we've warmed up in the hill in there, you know what I mean? And I was surprised to see Paul Clark being over the footballs to do their warm-up up there, you know, in front of the hill. But, you know, they weren't knocking balls in there trying to be disruptive or whatever. And it's not really part and parcel of the game, you know. But that's Dublin for you, and, you know, they kind of got their comeuppance at the end, you know.
Do you think, lads, they knew what they were doing?
I think so. But at the end of the day, Pat, if you look at that should have been able to be used by Dublin as a motivation factor. There was the hill, you know, they perceive the hill to be theirs. They want to warm up in front of the hill. Someone else goes in and takes what they see as theirs. And they should have used that to motivate.
The Dubs lost their composure.
Yeah, it should have been motivation instead of.
Like, I suppose in defence of Paul Caffrey, he did have a difficult week. His cousin dropped dead suddenly and all that. But it worked for Mayo, whether it was pre-planned or not.
I think it did work. And another thing it shows, Pat, is there's leaders on that Mayo team. As soon as they cross the line, they make the decisions. Those Brady's, Mortimer. I'm not saying not the management, but what Mayo now have is leaders, characters on the field that if they're under pressure, they can dig them out.
Right, let's go to man of the match time, lads. Contenders, Tony?
Oh, there's plenty of contenders. Looking at Dublin, I thought Alan Brogan was a one-man show on the forward line. He was absolutely magnificent. I thought Gio, when he had the ball, was good, and Keaney did well. For Mayo, again, you have to look at their subs. Kilcoyne was brilliant. O'Neill, when he came on, was brilliant. Moran was brilliant. Heaney, McGarity, Brady. There were so many of them for the Mayo team. The whole character was magnificent.
So, Anthony, who did he choose?
Well, in the end, we went for Alan Dillon of Mayo, who really has been outstanding all year, but particularly today, you know, he was immense. His general play,
he hasn't normally been regarded as a scorer. He's adding that to
his work rate is phenomenal. He's a very, very intelligent footballer, and we saw these are really clips of him taking points in that. But his distribution today was excellent. He runs with pace at all times, and when fellas run at pace, they're very, very difficult to defend against. And he was really a shining light for Mayo up front today, and virtually everything he kicked worked for them, and he was very, very deserving of man of the match, and there were quite a few outstanding performances today, but he was exceptional.
Well, after today's match, Alan Dillon spoke to our man, Darren Maloney.
Well, Alan, congratulations. You're the RTE